Did you know that there's currently 55 million people in the United States that can speak more than one language? Did you also know that this number is expected to grow over the next few years, so potentially it could be a little bit more harder for you to find a really good job? If you said yes or no to any of these previous questions, you definitely want to listen to this presentation very carefully. Right now, it's never been more important for you to be able to speak more than one language living in the United States. Reason for that is by speaking a second language, you'll have a heads up on the competition when you're applying for a job interview. And also, you definitely want to be able to speak more than one language because you'll be able to gain more culture and experiences. For me personally, I speak English and Spanish. And by me speaking another language, I've been able to get a lot of job opportunities that I never even knew existed. I've also done a lot of translating work for artists and managers. Not only is it a really good paying job, but also it helped me get a lot of new connections in countries on the other side of the world. And it's really good to make as many contacts as possible, as far away as well, because you never know when you're going to need something in the most random country. Now, you want to create and live your experiences. What I mean by that is by speaking another language, when you go travel, the experience and what you'll retain from it will be so much more because by speaking the native tongue or wherever you do decide to visit, it's going to enhance the whole experience and you'll be able to gain more, especially that traveling is really expensive, so you want to be able to gain as much as possible. Now, there's three things that I focused on about knowing a second language. One, as I stated before, you definitely want to be able to get a really good job and make a good salary because we all have bills to pay, especially our student loans, and you want to be able to take care of your loved ones. Two is cultural, is anything related to culture because with traveling and speaking with people from other countries, you'll be able to gain a lot more. And really important as well, you're by speaking a second language, you would actually prevent potential diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. And you want to be able to remember everything you did in life. So that's actually one way that has prevented mental diseases because it keeps your brain going strong. Really important as well. When you're talking to other people in, say, in your second language, you want to be able to practice a lot because the really key thing in speaking a second language is communication. Speaking with another person in their native tongue, it can be challenging at times, but if you practice it a lot, you'll be able to gain more vocabulary. Because, say, if you're speaking Spanish, if you speak with somebody from Colombia, and then you speak with somebody from Spain, the types of Spanish are very different. So you'll be able to gain a lot of new words, and that's actually very helpful when you speak with other Spanish speaking countries, for example. And really important as well through speaking a second language, the cultural that you gain from it is really, really, really big. Because if you go travel, you don't want to take a tour guide with you. You don't want to be able to just have it depend on a tour guide. You want to be able to navigate yourself and talk to other people who live there and have experienced it and can offer you a lot more. So that's really, really good that you could be able to speak another language when you're going to another country. Another big thing about speaking a second language, for some jobs that you might want, is it might actually be required. I know jobs that might require a second language are marketing jobs, anything that's to do with hospitality. I know that computer science requires it, and anything related to the government might require you speaking two languages. So that's definitely important if you want those jobs. Those are pretty good paying jobs. And like I said, money's not easy to get nowadays, so you want to be able to get as much as possible before you retire or what else could happen to you in your life. Now, the thing that really important, practice is key. One thing that I've noticed, at least from my research, that's helped a lot is Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is a really powerful tool that has been rated one of the most successful softwares for you to learn a new language in a matter of months. They offer they offer a disc for any language I think in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And really important as well, this is from the Queen's College in New York, and it states that there's an 85% satisfactory rate for anybody who uses Rosetta Stone. So that's really, really refuting, and it makes me feel comfortable about potentially picking that up as a tool to use for a second language. Now, as I go into more details for mental health, there's a lot of really big key things with that because the more active you keep your mind, the stronger it becomes over the years, and the less chances you have of potentially getting a brain disease. Judith Kill from Penn State University states, by when you speak a second language, it confuses the brain and it leads to cognitive development. So every time you speak another language, it confuses the brain, and it's pretty much like an exercise if you think about it. So it's really, really important for you to be able to speak and keep your brain active, because then once you become old and you're retired, you'll be able to have really good conversations and be able just to keep going. This is pretty sad seeing a lot of people who get sick and can't live a normal life because they have dementia or Alzheimer's, and it becomes hard to take care of people like that at times. So really important things when you're speaking a second language: practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to be able to gain ahead. Whether it's practicing with your tutor, a friend, or Rosetta Stone, you want to take at least a couple hours a week practicing speaking to either the software or a friend or a tutor, and it's something that's very helpful, because if you're able to dominate another language, it's only going to help you. There's no limit of how many languages you can learn. The more languages you learn, the more you'll be able to potentially gain, because you'll be able to travel and go work anywhere in the world. So that's something I strongly recommend. So remember, guys, practice and make it your goal to learn a second language by the time you graduate, because there's a lot of competition out there, and the more you know, the more you'll gain, and the easier it'll be for you guys. Thank you.